ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishnapreshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshetarine. जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. हरे कृष्णा everyone.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna. I opened my eyes and saw suddenly so many devotees. So happy to see you all. Amrit Vilasini Mataji as well. Thank you so much for joining. Sorry, I'm just looking at some setting of this headphone. Just quick minute. Okay, so there is some issue with this. I don't know what's happening. Okay, now good. Oh, sorry about that. So I'll share. Yeah. So the sages of Naimisharanya asked its questions in the beginning, right? As we remember. So first question was, what is the all good for the whole humanity? And there we saw the answer in chapter 2, 2.6, Sabai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Yatho Bhakti Radhokshaje. Right? So where ahetuki and apratihata bhakti is there. So that is the ultimate good for all people in general. Then also they asked what is the essence of all the scriptures. So there we also got the answer in probably 2.11, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitah Janahatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yada Hetukam, right? Then they also asked, why did Krishna take birth from the womb of Mother Devaki? So we read the answer in second chapter again, where we read in the purport that this creation is created for reclaiming the conditioned souls, right? So I'm not remembering the exact verse, but yeah, in purport that's what we read. So that is the main goal of Krishna, to take birth in this earth planet. So this is very encouraging that Krishna, who is supreme personality of Godhead, who is actually served by unlimited Lakshmis in Golok Vrindavan, and he has unlimited number of associates who love him unconditionally. Still, he comes in his self same form, like he says, Srijamyaham in Bhagavad Gita chapter 4. So still he comes in his own form. Srijami aham means he comes as it is, as he is. He comes to perform the pastimes to attract the suffering living entities in the material world, right? So main purpose of creation and Krishna's coming in Mother Devaki's womb is to reclaim the suffering conditioned souls, right? Then they asked about his Purusha incarnations, so that we are learning now in chapter 3. Then they asked about Leela incarnations, so that also we would be learning in chapter 3. But um, this is Shukadeva Goswami will just give the glimpse of all these incarnations, but all of those incarnations will be covered in detail in whole of the Bhagavatam. Okay. And last question that they asked was that once Krishna has now departed from to his abode, so where did the religious principles take shelter now? Because dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. So Krishna is the um actually who originated the religious principles, who knows everything about what is proper and what is not proper, what is dharma, what is adharma. So when Krishna was here, all the dharmic principles were followed properly. So now the sages are asking that where these principles take shelter. So that answer we also will learn into this chapter. So now we will continue. So we are reading about the Purusha avatars, and we read that first of all, in Karanodaksha, the Karnodakshay Vishnu comes and lies down in the causal ocean. Then from him, many universes are coming out through his breathing. And in each universe, then his plenary portion, which is Garbhodakshay Vishnu, is entering into all these universes as the presiding deity of all the universes, right? In each universe, there is one Garbhodakshay Vishnu. And then from this Garbhodakshay Vishnu expands Shirodakshay Vishnu, who enters into each and every living entity. And this Shirodakshay Vishnu becomes the source of all other incarnations. Okay, so this way we read about the three Vishnus. So these are called as three Purusha avatars. Okay, so like that, many incarnations are there, which and Krishna is the fountainhead of all the incarnations. So we are reading about Purusha incarnations. Then there are Leela avatars, there are Guna avatars, there are Shakti Avesh avatars, there are Yuga avatars, and Manvantara avatars. So like that, 6 kinds of incarnations are there, and they are like vast in numbers. Okay, it is just like unlimited. So we will continue now. So text 4. Yeah. पश्यन्ति यदो रूपम् अभद्रचक्षुषा सहस्रपादोरुभुजा भुजाननाद्भुतम् सहस्रमूर्धा श्रवणाक्षि नासिकम् सहस्रमौलियम्बरा कुण्डलोल्लसत्. Pashyanti, see, Adaha, the form of the Purusha, Rupam, form, Adabhra, perfect, Chakshusha, by the eyes, Sahasrapada, thousands of legs, Uru, thighs, Bhuja Anana, hands and faces, Adbhutam, wonderful, Sahasra, thousands of, Murdha, heads, Shravana, ears, Akshi, eyes, Nasikam, noses, Sahasra, thousand, Mauli, garlands, Ambara, dresses, Kundala, earrings, Ullasat, all glowing. So while we are reading all these verses, we need to keep one thread in mind very active, that how Krishna is personally present, doing all these activities. Although he uses his energies to perform, but until and unless he asks his energies to do all these activities, the energies won't act by themselves, right? So that's why we need to constantly keep this thread in our mind, that how much he is invested in us. The devotees with their perfect eyes see the transcendental form of the Purusha, who has thousands of legs, thighs, arms, and faces, all extraordinary. In that body, there are thousands of heads, ears, eyes, and noses. They are decorated with thousands of helmets and glowing earrings and are adorned with garlands. So, this is the explanation of the universal form, right? Garbhodakshay Vishnu. I mean, we will read in the purport also. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. With our present materialized senses, we cannot perceive anything of the transcendental Lord. Our present senses are to be rectified by the process of devotional service. And then the Lord Himself becomes revealed to us. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that the transcendental Lord can be perceived only by pure devotional service. So it is confirmed in the Vedas that only devotional service can lead one to the side of the Lord, and that only devotional service can reveal Him. In the Brahma Samhita also, it is said that the Lord is always visible to the devotees whose eyes have been anointed with the tinge of devotional service. So we have to take information of the transcendental form of the Lord from persons who have actually seen Him with perfect eyes and smeared with devotional service. In the material world also, we do not always see things with our own eyes. We sometimes see through the experience of those who have actually seen or done things. If that is the process of experiencing a mundane object, it is more perfectly applicable in matters transcendental. So, only with patience and perseverance can we realize the transcendental subject matter regarding the absolute truth and His different forms. He is formless to the neophytes, but He is in transcendental form to the expert servitor. So, because Lord Vishnu expands in all these living entities, that's why it has been mentioned like this, that He has thousands of legs, thighs, arms, and faces, because He is expanded in all of us. Okay, and all other, even animal species, all the living entities. Therefore, He has thousands of heads, ears, eyes. So, therefore, like in Bhagavad Gita also we discuss this, that whenever we are interacting with others, we need to understand that Krishna is in their heart, right? And now this verse is also explicitly saying that He is expanded everywhere in the form of living entities with thousands of heads, ears, eyes, and noses. So here Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that one can realize the form of Vishnu or Krishna if his eyes are anointed with love of devotional service, right? So with, as long as that is not there, with imperfect senses we cannot realize Krishna. So that is the essence of this purport. Okay, Shilpi Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
1.3.5 एतान्नानावताराणां निधानां बीजम् अव्ययम् यस्यां संसेन सृज्यन्ते देवतेर्यान् नारदायः. Etat, this form, Nana, multifarious, Avataranam, of the incarnation, Nidhanam, source, Bijam, seed, Avyayam, indestructible, Yasya, whose, Amsa, plenary portion, Amsena, part of the plenary portion, Srijante, create, demigods, Tiryak, animals, Nara, Adyaha, human beings and others. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This form, the second manifestation of the puruṣa, is the source and indestructible seed of multifarious incarnation within the universe. From the particles and portion of this form, different living entities like demigods, men, and other are created. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Purusha, after creating innumerable universes in the Mahat Tattva, entered in each of them as the second Purusha, Garbhodakshay Vishnu. When he saw that within the universe there was only darkness and space without a resting place, he filled half of the universe with water from his own perspiration and laid himself down on the same water. This water is called Garbhodaka. Then from his navel the stem of the lotus flower sprouted, and on the flower petal the birth of Brahma, or the master engineer of the universal plan, took place. Brahma became the engineer of the universe, and the Lord himself took charge of the maintenance of the universe as Vishnu. Brahma was generated from Rajguna of Prakriti, or the mode of passion in nature, and Vishnu became the Lord of the mode of goodness. Vishnu, being transcendental to all the modes, is always aloof from materialistic affection. This has already been explained. From Brahma, there is Rudra Shiva, who is in charge of the mode of ignorance or darkness. He destroys the whole creation by the will of the Lord. Therefore, all three, namely Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, are incarnation of the Garbhodakshai Vishnu. From Brahma, the other demigods like Daksha, Marichi, Manu, and many others became incarnated to generate living entities within the universe. This Garbhodakshai Vishnu is glorified in the Vedas in the hymn of Garbhastuti, which begin with the description of the Lord as having thousands of heads, etc. The Garbhodakshai Vishnu is the Lord of the universe, and although he appears to be lying within the universe, he is always transcendental. This also has already been explained. The Vishnu is the plenary portion of the Garbhodakshai Vishnu, is the super soul of the universal life, and is known as the maintainer of the universe, or Kshirodakshai Vishnu. So the three features of the original puruṣa are thus understood. All all the incarnation within the universe are emanations from the Kshirodakshai Vishnu. In different millennia, there are different incarnations, and they are innumerable, although some of them are very prominent, such as Matsya Kurma, Varaha, Rama, Narsimha, Vamana, and many others. These incarnations are called Leela incarnation, and there are qualitative incarnations such as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva or Rudra, who take charge of the different modes of material nature. Lord Vishnu is non-different from the personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva is the marginal position between the personality of Godhead and the living entities, or jivas. Brahma is always a jiva tattva. The highest pious living being, or the greatest devotee of the Lord, is empowered with the potency of the Lord for creation and is called Brahma. His power is like the power of the sun reflected in valuable stones and jewels. When there is no such living being to take charge of the post of Brahma, the Lord himself became a Brahma and take charge of the post. Lord Shiva is not an ordinary living being. He is the plenary portion of the Lord. But because Lord Shiva is in direct touch with material nature, he is not exactly in the same transcendental position as Lord Vishnu. The difference is like that between milk and curd. Curd is nothing but milk, and yet it cannot be used in place of milk. The next incarnation are the Manus. Within 1 day's duration of the life of Brahma, which is calculated by our solar year as 4,300,000 in 2,000 years, there are 14 Manus. Therefore, there are 420 Manus in 1 month of Brahma and 5,040 Manus in 1 year of Brahma. Brahma lives for 100 years of his age, and therefore there are 5,040 into 100, or 504,000 Manus in the duration of Brahma life. There are innumerable universes with one Brahma in each of them, and all of them are created and annihilated during the breathing time of the puruṣa. Therefore, one can simply imagine how many millions of Manus there are during one breath of the puruṣa. The Manus who are prominent within this universe are as follows: Yagna or Swambhavu Manu, Vibhu as Swarokshija Manu, Satyasena as Uttama Manu, Hari as Tamasa Manu, Vaikuntha as Revata Manu, Ajita as Chakshusha Manu, Vamana as Vivasvata Manu, the present ages under the Vivasvata Manu, Sa- Sarvabhauma as Savarni Manu, Rishabha as Daksha Savarni Manu, Vishwaksena as Brahma Savarni Manu, Dharma Setu as Dharma Savarni Manu, Sudhama as Rudra Savarni Manu, Yogeshwara as Deva Savarni Manu, and Brahad as Indra Savarni Manu. There are the names of the one set of 14. These are the names of the one set of 14 Manus covering how much is 4 million, Mataji?
Think it is
Four,
more than a
I don't
billion.
know.
I
It's
think
more
it's
Uh, than a billion.
43 billion or something.
43
43
billion, yeah.
billion. Okay, thank you. Solar years as described above. Then there are Yugavtaras or the incarnation of the millennia. The Yugas are known as Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kal Yuga. The incarnation of each yuga are of different color. The color are white, red, black, and yellow. In the Dwapar Yuga, Lord Krishna in black color appeared, and in the Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya in yellow color appeared. So all the incarnation of the Lord are mentioned in the revealed scriptures. There is no scope for an impostor to become an incarnation. For an incarnation must be mentioned in the Shastras. An incarnation does not declare himself to be an incarnation of the Lord, but great sages agree by the symptoms mentioned in the revealed scriptures. The features of the incarnation and the particular type of mission which he has to execute are mentioned in the revealed scriptures. Apart from the direct incarnations, there are innumerable empowered incarnations. They are also mentioned in the revealed scriptures. Such incarnations are directly as well as indirectly empowered. When they are directly empowered, they are called incarnation, but when they are indirectly empowered, they are vibhutis. Directly empowered incarnations are the Kumaras, Narada, Prathu, Sesha, Ananta, etc. As far as vibhutis are concerned, they are very explicitly described in the Bhagavad Gita in the Vibhuti Yoga chapter. And for all these different type of incarnation, the fountainhead is the Garbhodakshai Vishnu. Thank you, Mataji.
Hari bol. Shilpi Mataji, somehow always you end up reading a long purport.
Krishna Mercy Mataji.
That's good. That's, yeah, wonderful. Oh, wow. So look at this purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, who can do such a like amazing work. And how would we know all these things if his purports are not there? It's so amazing. Yeah. So, like, we can understand from this purport that how many incarnations Krishna takes, right? So, in one sense, he's everywhere. He's uh, everywhere in every living entity, in each atom, as it is said, right? So here, first there is some explanation regarding Garbhodakshai Vishnu. So he lies down in the ocean, okay, in the Garbhodaka ocean, and how that ocean is formed through his perspiration. And then from his navel, a lotus sprouts and Brahmaji appears, right? And then now Prabhupada is explaining how these three deities are the controllers of universe, right? So Brahmaji is creating. So creation needs requires some creative impetus. So that is little mode of passion, right? Unless you have passion, you cannot create. Then so Brahmaji is the deity of mode of passion. Then Lord Vishnu, he always remains transcendental. Okay, so he is the deity of mode of goodness in material world, but he is still transcendental to all the modes. And Lord Shiva, he comes from Brahma. He comes from the head of Brahma, and he's the in charge of mode of ignorance. In charge means who for destruction, annihilation. So these three are the these three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Lord Shiva. They are actually coming from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu only, right? And then from Brahma, other living entities come who are responsible to increase the progeny, right? Like Daksha, Marichi, Manus, all these living entities. Uh, yeah, and then also Prabhupada is explaining that how this Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is, offered prayers, he's glorified through Garbhastuti. and those things, right? And then from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Shirodakshaya Vishnu expands, who enters into all these living entities which are created. So now Prabhupada ji is explaining about these different incarnations, right? So Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, all these are what? Leela avatars, Leela incarnations. And Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, what are these? These are Guna avatars or qualitative incarnations. So as it is discussed, mode of passion, mode of goodness and mode of ignorance, they are in charge of these modes. So Leela and then Guna, and then now he is explaining the position of Lord Shiva. So he is between the Jiva Tattva and personality of Godhead. So Lord Shiva is a very, very special incarnation of Krishna. He is neither a Jiva nor 100% supreme personality of Godhead. He is in the middle. So he takes the service of connecting with the material world, as I told, right? That Lord Vishnu, when glances toward the material energy, that glance is called as Shambhu. So he actually contacts the Chaya Devi or Mother Parvati, and he impregnates her. So in the glance of Lord Vishnu, all the living entities are there, and all those living entities via Lord Shambhu enters, impregnates Devi, Mother Durga or Parvati, right? And from there, all the living entities. So, I mean, it's easy to say, but the process nobody knows, like, unless we read the Shastras very thoroughly, right? So, but Lord Shiva is a very, very special, he is a Shiva Tattva, he is in Shiva Tattva. So then, whenever there is not a suitable entity, then Lord Vishnu himself takes that position. Suppose Brahma is a post, right? So if a living entity is not there, so what kind of living entity is required to become Lord Brahma? Is like thousand yuga cycles, perfectly following varnashram dharma in perfection, full perfection, no flaws or errors. That person becomes the eligible person for taking up the Brahma's post, right? So when there is not a suitable person, then Lord Vishnu himself takes the position. Okay. So Lord Shiva is in direct touch with material nature, and yeah, Prabhupada is giving the analogy of curd and milk, right? So curd is similar to milk, same, but it is still cannot be used in place of milk because it has touched by the some bacteria, right? Or like Lord Shiva is touching the material world. That doesn't mean that he becomes impure or something. Actually, Shiva means pure, right? So he purifies the material world basically by his touch, but he is just doing his service, and Lord Shiva is nothing but Lord Krishna's incarnation. Now next is Manu's. So here we need to just pay a little bit attention. That's why I'm like explaining all these things, because it's hard for me also to understand unless I share it like this. So one, like if we consider Kali Yuga, then it is 4,300,000 or 4,030,000, 300,000. Yeah. So 4,300,000, or what is that? Anybody remembers? Is it 4,032, 4,300,000, right? Yeah. So that,
4.3 million.
yeah. So it is
Isn't it
4,300,000.
432,000, Mataji? Sorry, I'm wrong. I
Yeah,
might be
that's
wrong.
what I'm remembering. There was a two. I'm remembering it too. So you are right, Mataji. I think 432,000. Yeah.
We, like in other words, we can also say like 4.32 million
Yeah.
times 1,000.
Mataji, I think we need to figure this out because every time this number comes, I get so like so scared what to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, no, let me quickly check because I want to do this calculation quickly. 1 second. Kali Yuga duration. Yeah, 432,000. Meghna Mataji is correct. Yes, and Rutul Prabhu correct. 432,000 years. So this one yuga, Kali Yuga, is 432,000 years. Then the Dwapar Yuga is 2 times of this, 432,000 times 2. Okay. Then Treta Yuga is 3 times of 432,000. And then Satya Yuga is 4 times, 432,000. So now 432,000 is common. And so what comes inside? 1 times Kali Yuga plus 2 times Dwapar Yuga plus 3 times this thing. What? Treta Yuga, and 4 times Satya Yuga. So inside we have how much? 4 plus 2, 6, and then 10, right? So in total, one yuga cycle is how much? 432,000 times 10. Got this idea? Thumbs up.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, so this is one yuga cycle. Now what is it being said? That within 1 day's duration of life of Brahma, so this is like 400. Okay, so Prabhupada has given 430,000 only. So the 430,000 times 10, so that has added one more zero to it. You see here. So now this becomes 4,300,000. And like that, 1,000 yuga cycles. Okay, so this was just one yuga cycle. 4,300,000. This was one yuga cycle, and like that 1,000 yuga cycles. So that makes what? That makes 1 day of Brahma. Any confusion so far? So we have this one yuga cycle here in blue highlighted, and it is multiplied by 1,000, means 1,000 yuga cycles. That makes 1 day of Brahma. And in 1 day of Brahma, there are 14 manus. Okay. So in 1 month, 14 times 30, 420. And in 1 year, multiplied by 12, 5,040 manus in 1 year of Brahma. And 1 year would be like a big number of Brahma's life. Okay, so we are calculating here. This is been calculated as 1 day of Brahma. Okay. If you have any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, I will assume that you are understanding. Okay. So, and there are innumerable universes that are coming out from Karnodakshay Vishnu, right? And with one Brahma in each of them. And all of them are created and annihilated during breathing time of Purusha. Okay. So therefore, we cannot even imagine actually how many millions of manus are there. And what are these manus? These manu actually Lord Vishnu comes in different incarnations as manus. So now you can imagine that how many incarnations Lord Vishnu is taking. So we are all actually, in real sense, we are his expansions. Okay, but we have lost that memory. That's why we are struggling so much. But as Krishna says, Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke. So we are his amshas basically, right? So this explanation helps us also to understand our own identity basically. That's why I'm spending little time on this. So now Prabhupada is telling us that how many, these are 14 manus, okay, in 1 day of Brahma. And all these are incarnations of Purusha. Yagna is a name of Lord Vishnu. And he is son of, I don't remember right now, but he takes incarnation as son of some sages and some princess like that. So that all will come in upcoming chapters, right? So Yagna, Vibhu, And then they are all named as some Manu. So Swayambhuva Manu, Vibhueshwaro Chisha Manu, Satyasena as Uttama Manu. So all these earlier names which are preceding, these are all the names of Lord Vishnu. Okay, and he is coming as these Manus. So as said, that he takes the place when a suitable person is not there. So he is coming himself, right? And then here, so these are the names of one set of 14 Manus. So 4,300,000, that is one Yuga cycle, times 1,000, which is one day of Brahma. In that 14, these 14 sets of Manu is coming. So we can only imagine, like, this is just one day of Brahma. So whole life of Brahma, how many Manus are coming? Okay. So these are Manvantaras or Manvantar Avtaras. Okay, these are all Yagna, Vibhu, Satyasena, Hari. All these are Manvantar Avatara. Then there are Yuga Avataras, we know, right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in Kali Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Krishna, right? And then Treta Yuga, Lord Ramachandra. And in Satya Yuga, who is there? I think Raktavaraha or something. I will need to confirm on that. But yeah, so these are the different Yuga Avataras. So now all these incarnations have been mentioned in the scripture. So nobody can claim to be incarnations. And this knowledge we are getting. But to date, still in India, people are claiming to be incarnations of God. You know, in recent some news, like few months back, there was a person who wears all white suit and all white boots and everything, and he carries many people with him, and he has some mystical power, and people think that he's God, you know, and that's how they worship him or something. So this is so much foolishness is going on. But these incarnations should be mentioned in the Shastras. Therefore we need to read Shastras. It is very essential. And then Prabhupada is saying that there are other incarnations. So these are Shakti Avesh avatars, empowered incarnations, Shakti Avesh. So there are directly empowered like Kumaras, Narada, Prathu, Ananta, like that. And then there are Vibhutis. So in 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, most of the Vibhutis Krishna has mentioned there. Like I am Yagnyanam Japayagno Asmi, right? Of all the yagnas, I am the chanting. And then he also says that from the horses, I am Uchchaishrava. So who came out of churning of milk ocean, right? In Samudra Manthan episode. Then he is also saying that among the aquatics, I am Makar. So he's saying I'm a shark, right? So like he's informing us about these indirectly empowered avatars, right? So we are also actually expansions of Krishna, but we are separated energies because we have forgotten now. Okay, so this is why I'm doing so much discussion this on this. But this is very, very important to know for us that what Krishna is actually doing for us. Just look at this. And what Prabhupada is doing for us also, because he took his good time, his, you know, good energy, and he actually gallons of blood he has poured into writing these purports. And you know, from so many references, so many books he consulted, so many acharyas, commentaries, everything, and he's just directly giving us the plate. Here is the food, just eat it, right? So this develops humility in us and gratitude in us. If we don't know, if we don't know everything, if we don't understand all these technicalities, as we won't, because it's like this is all Krishna is doing. So how can we understand everything? Whatever Prabhupada is informing us, that also we can understand to a very little extent with our material intelligence, right? But yeah, we can be humble, we can be very, very grateful, and we can decide to, you know, reciprocate to this mercy some or the other way. That is our individual decision, right? So yeah, sorry, it took me some time, but I felt that it was important to discuss this. But if any quick comment is there, we have like few minutes, I mean 1 or 2 minutes, we can take that. Anything?
I have a question, Mataji.
Yes, ma'am.
So why Brahmaji is not so popular? Like since childhood, we have been like worshipping
Hmm.
Shiva or Vishnuji, but I don't know, like especially in North India. But Brahmaji, we do see pictures sometimes, like when all the gods' picture are there sometime, but he is not
Yeah.
worshipped the way. And so, what's the reason? And he is the like mentioned as the most, I think, greatest devotee of the Lord is in the purport.
Yeah, I mean, he assumes the post of Lord Brahma, being a very very highly elevated living entity. Definitely. I don't know the exact reason, Mataji. I will need to research on that. But I know there is one place in Pushkar in India where Lord Brahma is worshipped very very reverentially, and also he is the actually he from him our sampradaya is coming up. So our sampradaya is called as Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So he's definitely revered, and so he's definitely revered in that way. Uh, yeah, but if you're asking like not in the temples or something like that, I will need to find
Yeah.
that out. My thought is going toward one pastime that he performed, that he was attracted to his own daughter,
Okay.
and
Mm.
so that could be one reason, but I'm not 100% sure about that, because that way also he was, just showing through his example that how we should not behave. So he's after all a devotee. So Amrit Vilasini Mataji, you have some input on this discussion?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
I'm remembering a story, and I was just asking my Prabhu too. There's like a
Hmm.
story of Brahmaji being cursed by Lord Shiva by for that he can't be worshipped, and it was because the whole reason behind that was like when his head got like Brahma's one of his heads got cut off during
Hmm.
that whole episode. That like there was like that, I can't remember the exact story behind it, but that was there was like and that is also the reason why that whole episode behind why Daksh doesn't like Lord Shiva, and like that whole Leela happened too, where like Prajapati was like really against worshiping Lord Shiva and stuff, and then Sati was born, and then like she ends up wanting to marry Lord Shiva, but like he's like no, and then she ends up getting married. It's like that whole Leela happens too, but it was before all of this that like Brahma was cursed by Lord Shiva that he cannot be worshipped, and he cannot be like there can't be any mandir or anything for him. And I think there's only like one temple in India, you were saying, where like
Pushkar.
yeah, in Pushkar, that there is a temple for him, but like no one really worships him there or something.
Okay, no, we had visited and people were worshipping, but yeah, I can definitely, this is true that I also remember some curse was there, but I'll need to find that out. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I need to look up
that's,
the exact story
mm,
details, but like I
yeah,
know there's that whole like
yes,
scene, and he was cursed specifically for
right,
this,
right.
like, and that whole episode, that curse led to the whole episode of Daksh and his and that whole story too.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. So we will look into it definitely, maybe before next time. Yeah, but thank you so much for that input. Anything else? Otherwise, we can wrap it up. I know it's like little over time.
I'm just going
So
to add one more
yeah.
thing in today's
Hmm.
class that I really appreciate. I know I don't join all the calls, but I always like listen to like the videos and stuff.
Yeah.
But in this call, like one thing that I really really appreciated was just seeing like as like someone who's like really OCD about like organization and stuff, to see how like this cosmic like world is so organized in such a way that like like if you think of it like a company, right? Like there's like the
Mm.
CEO and then like the vice presidents and the directors and everything. Like the Lord has made such divisions and everything in such details, and yet he's part of every single part. Like how like they say like in leadership meetings that like even if
Yeah.
you're a team lead, like you still should know what all the superiors are doing and all the junior people are doing on your team. Like, you
Absolutely.
should be able
Yeah.
to, like, if any junior person is out and, like, you know, they need to come, no one can cover him, like the
Yeah.
senior person should be able to sit into that person's seat and be able to cover for him if needed. You know,
Yeah.
like that whole, like,
Totally.
it's like in the purport, like it said that, you know, if there is no Brahma, that if there's no one that can become Brahma, it's like the Lord comes and sits and becomes Brahma himself.
Absolutely.
Like it's written in the purport too. So I
Yes.
really appreciated that. I was like, oh wow, that's like
Yeah.
so much. You can appreciate that. Like, wow, like the Lord has really thought of like every single different scenario in the world, and like, you know, to make sure that this world is this these universes and this, like, you know, that this material world that we're in and everything is like so perfectly aligned in
So
such a
perfect.
perfect way.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Like such a good point you brought, Mataji, because yes, this is responsibility of leader also. So Lord is showing by his example also. And I'm also thinking how much he's invested, right? In although he says I have nothing to do with the material world, but still out of love, he's so much invested in this. So amazing. And we are very fortunate to be followers of Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very, very much for your inputs, and I'll see you on Thursday. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavabhyo. Hari Bol.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.